Hi guys, just going to run you through this sample video between Paul Pinkewich in the blue and myself in the yellow and black, just to highlight some of the strategies and tactics that are used in Twiddling. To give you a heads up of what equipment we were using, Paul at the time against me in this video was using Domination in black, which is an inverted rubber. He was also using, I think in this particular one, Hallmark Frustration, probably in a thin rubber. Hallmark Frustration being a Long Pip. That's in red, mainly on his backhand, but twiddling often, as you'll see. On the other hand, I was using, I think, still my T-Mobile Spirit Blade back at this time, although I may have changed to the Matsushita Pro Special by this stage. My memory's just a little bit fuzzy right now. I would have been using Domination 1.5 mils red on my forehand, and Stiga Destroyer Long Pips Ox black on my backhand. So what you'll see in this match, being that we're both basically defensive players, you'll see a lot of jockeying for position to set up a winning shot. You'll also see that Paul tends to play a little bit more defensively in this match, or at least in this game that you're going to get highlighted, than I do. So I tend to take the aggressive role a little bit more, and that will be reflected, you'll see, in basically where I'm taking up position on the table versus where Paul's taking up position on the table. It's not to say that he never attacks, it's just that over the course of the game I'm tending to do a little bit more attacking than Paul. Paul's playing the slightly more defensive role. But what we'll do is I'm just going to talk you through the last game, and then after talking you through that, I've just got a few points in very, very slow motion that will allow me to just kind of discuss what's going on while you follow on screen, and just make it a little bit easier to follow. So let's get into it. Okay, this is the final game. At the moment I'm leading 2-1 and looking to take the final game to win. A good twiddle there to go with the long pips. Again, you can see Paul mainly playing defensively. I'm looking to roll occasionally with the pips, roll occasionally to set up an attack like that and allow me to get in, whereas Paul's tending to back more off the table. And currently one love to Paul. I missed the attack. You'll see a lot of twiddling going on here because we're both pushing. 2 love to Paul. Because we're both pushing, there's more time for the twiddling to read the ball and twiddle. You'll see me chicken winging a little bit to take it with my backhand, simply because I'm very comfortable with the backhand side, and you can see there a mistake on the forehand. So 3-0 to Paul, and now 4-0 again with an error. So I'm 4-0 down. At this point, I'm two games to 1 up, looking to try and take the match out. 5-0 down, and really sloppy tactics at the moment. I've made some sloppy attacks and I need to tighten up and get back into this actual game. So I'm still looking to try and attack. Paul hits a good attack there and misses the follow-up. So we're 5-1, and I need to play some more solid points and work for the right setup. And now you can see I'm going to swapping between the pips, trying to probe for an attack, get a mistake. 5-2 now. Paul puts in a good attack and just gives me a chance to get a quick counter attack going. So we're at 3-5. I'm sort of breathing a little bit better now at 3-5 than I was at love 5. And going to the backhand serve. Again, chicken winging. 3-6. I'm going over to that backhand firstly because it's safe. I know Paul's not going to attack very often. When he does attack, I'm quite comfortable. 4-6 there. I'm quite comfortable blocking his attack back, so I don't feel that I have to take it on my forehand. I can take the time to run around and take it with my safer backhand. 6-5 I think now. And the difference being here is that really I'm just cut out the silly attacks, the big attacks, and now I'm starting to roll the ball and wait and have a little bit of luck maybe there too. 7-5 to Paul, missed off the push. And really you can see mainly trying to use my backhand to set up the point, my backhand being the stronger one. And a little miss there from Paul, about 6-7 I think now. Also because at this time good shot by Paul, 8-6. My forehand technique was still a little bit dodgy, and if you go back and look at some of the points where I try and play my forehand, you'll see why, where I'm too narrow with the feet, I'm too upright, and just like there you can really see I'm not getting any power transfer through the ball, whereas my basic backhand technique is much better and more solid, so it makes more sense for me to try and get in on the backhand side. Running around there, and we're basically both jockeying for position. You can see Twiddling, I'm looking to get that backhand landed. Basically I'm hoping to try and get Paul to pop one a little bit without too much spin, that I can whip away with the backhand side. Paul's hoping to make me make a mistake and occasionally do a counter attack, so he's varying the spin on his chops. Twiddling fairly often to use all sorts of rubbers, all sides of the rubbers, and try and make me make a mistake. So it comes down, at this point in time, it really comes down to the fact that I'm trying to restrain myself and just roll the ball, play a safe backhand until I get one that I'm pretty sure of the spin, and then I can whip it away. Whereas Paul's trying to keep me guessing with the spin and looking to punishing anything that I'm putting up too loose. So again, you can see me taking a lot of balls with the backhand, on the smooth on the backhand, quite a few points with the pips on the forehand as well. Really just a lot of twiddling going on, and I'm constantly trying to probe. Good shot there by Paul. I'm trying to probe, get the ball popped up a bit and put it away. Whereas Paul's again twiddling a lot. You can see him going between that black there, goes to the red, back to the black, onto the pips there, and what he's trying to do is basically tempt me to attack or get me to make the error there on the pushing, because he's quite a solid twiddler and pusher himself. So it's a tough matchup, and we're currently getting deep into now the last game, and both of us sort of feeling the pressure a little bit. Paul setting up a good counter attack there but missing. And it really is it's a close match that could go either way at this point. Little pop and a good backhand, and you can see I'm not confident enough to run around and hit another forehand when Paul attacks. So basically my job is to roll the backhand. If it comes up nice and easy, I'll whip it away. If not, I'm going to push it and look for another chance. I certainly don't want to be trying to hitting two forehands in a row with my technique at the time against someone like Paul Pinkewich, who handles much better loopers than me. So for me to try and loop him off would be suicidal. And even there in the pushing rallies, there's no guarantee I'm going to win the pushing rallies against someone who's so experienced with Paul. What I have to do is manipulate the spin, push with both sides, roll like there with the black, with the pips, roll again with the red, took a chance and followed up, rolled another hard one, good rally. We're both varying well, little roll dab with the pips, and again bring him in, another little pips, and lucky win for me on that point. That point is an excellent example to see of Paul defensively keeping me under pressure, me trying to keep him under pressure, attacking and varying both with the smooth and the pips. Another safe, heavy top spin roll there, and again, not trying to land it deep, just trying to top spin to set up another point, and luckily finally got Paul to go off the end of the table there. So match point to me. Still chicken winging, big attack there, and I'm too afraid to follow it up with another forehand, and I'm looking to get that backhand in a lot, and finally, with a little bit of luck along the way, got the win. Alright, let's go through a couple of points in slow motion here that I can talk you through. So the inverted serve with the red rubber, Paul pushing back now with his black, which is his inverted, and I've twiddled to go to the red and give him a heavy spin, and he's gone, I think, with the pips, the red being his pips, and a little roll, safe roll there with my pips, hoping to get him to pop up or into the net, and a little dab now to bring him back in. And you can see Paul really playing the defensive role, coming in, coming out. I'm standing fairly much static at the table. I'm looking to get in as soon as possible off something that's easy. I'm not dancing backwards and forwards, so I'm playing the aggressive role, Paul playing the defensive role here. I'm back with the pips, just using my pip strategy to try and get him to pop it, and I twiddle straight away and get him to go up, and now I loop. Big heavy top spin, very safe. I twiddle straight back, push now with the heavy and a little twiddle, and now got the black and just a little dab of the net there which Paul handles, and I've twiddled to go with the big back spin. Paul's back in position, and because I've twiddled I've got to go back to the black. I twiddle again, hoping for another one to follow up with, which it comes, and still haven't twiddled. I'm waiting on that backhand side a lot. I'm caught, have to use the pips and then twiddle afterwards and hope for the forehand, get it and miss, due to my pretty poor forehand technique at that time. So another point, again serving with the inverted, just a basic serve, Paul going heavy with the inverted of his own, me twiddling going back, keeping him out, him there going with his pips, me rolling heavy with the top spin, Paul coming back and me pushing again and holding there and off the end of the table. Paul has very good spin variations, and you really do have to respect it, and if you're not careful you'll make a mistake. Just a little dab there with my pips on the return of serve. Paul comes back, I've already twiddled, giving him a heavier push now. Paul again coming back looking for my elbow, and I'm not brave enough to try and go at that with my forehand. I've pushed with the forehand, twiddled to the backhand, chicken winged it a little bit, and now I've gone back to the pips on the backhand and gone twiddled again to go to the pips on the forehand. Really what I'm looking to do there is I'm not brave enough to hit it with my forehand loop, so I go with the pips in the hope that Paul will misread it and pop it and give me a chance to get in with my backhand. A little dab roll there, again just to break up the game, and twiddle and back, another little push with the pips but into the net. So these points really Paul getting the better of me here, and a good push there on the return of serve, quite short. Paul comes in and I've already twiddled, got the big backhand, but really did that a little bit too early in the point, didn't need to go straight away. And now looking a couple of clips more towards the end of the match, I think, where I'm playing a bit tighter now. Hit with the pips return, twiddled straight away, and very safe roll now, heavy spin, lots of height over the net in case I misread the ball. Getting Paul to put it up. You can see though I'm not brave enough to really hit it twice if I don't have to. So I push one, give another safe roll here. I'm still waiting a lot with my bat on the backhand because I'm not confident in my forehand at the time. Coming around here, and again that's a pretty good example of why my forehand technique was quite poor at the time and needed to be improved. However, the spin did do the job that time and managed to get the error. Yeah, my forehands are very, at this point back in 2007, is a good example of less than perfect technique, which I've worked a lot on to improve, so I wouldn't have to play like this in the future. Again, running around, narrowing my stance, really swinging up on that ball, and not brave enough to hit it again, so I push it, bring Paul back in. He's going with his inverted close to the table, looking at my elbow to get to my elbow, gets it, makes me push, goes with his inverted again, straight back into that playing elbow, and I go with the backhand instead. And you can see that Paul knows I don't want to really hit forehands, so he quite often gets it over to that forehand side before coming to the backhand, and fortunately that time missing the ball. So what's the point of this video apart from me giving me a chance to wince looking at my forehand technique? The point really being here is for you to take away is that what's going on with the twiddling is specific to this particular match between myself and Paul. Neither of us normally twiddle quite that often and in those particular patterns, because we normally are playing other attackers rather than other defenders. So the twiddling patterns we're using, the tactics we're using, are suited to our particular opponent. In my case, what I'm doing is I'm hesitant about my forehand loop technique. I'm comfortable with my backhand loop technique. I'm a little bit more comfortable with my pushing on the backhand than the forehand. So what I'm trying to do is basically occasionally use my forehand to top spin a big heavy opening loop, mainly using my backhand to either push, to occasionally roll with the pips, or to roll a big heavy top spin with the backhand, unless during the pushing rally I can somehow get Paul to put one up high that I know I've got a good read of the spin on, in which case I really look then to whip it away with the backhand. I'm definitely not as comfortable or confident doing that with the forehand at this stage, so that was why you're not going to see a lot of big forehand putaways. You'll see the backhand side. In contrast, what Paul's doing is he's playing more defensively. He's in and out from the table. He's trying to get me to make some mistakes during the pushing rallies and get me to dump it in the net, push off the end of the table. When he feels that he needs to break up my rhythm a little bit, or if I make a very bad mistake in terms of putting the ball up high, he'll dash in and whack the forehand. And as you can see here, he really trusts his forehand hit more than his backhand. So in that respect, we're kind of both contrasting where we're comfortable hitting the ball. Paul's coming in and out a lot from the table. I'm hanging in close because I'm looking to be the more aggressive role. I don't really... I played Paul the year before in the Nationals, and basically he hit me off the table. It wasn't a very pleasant experience, and I certainly didn't want to give him the chance to try and do it again, so I had decided to be more aggressive in this particular matchup. During the points themselves though, go back. I would really strongly suggest going back, having a little look, and what you'll see is both of us twiddling a lot, but twiddling to what we want to do. You'll see me I guess chicken winging a lot and taking that backhand on the forehand side a lot, mainly because Paul knows I'm more confident on the backhand than the forehand, so he's getting a lot of balls into my playing elbow. He's getting a lot of balls out to that forehand side when he's under pressure, because he knows that I'm not confident about punishing him with my forehand. When I've loaded up the ball with a heavy spin or a strong attack, he's not too worried about chopping that back to my backhand, because he knows I respect his chop immensely and I'm not too likely to follow it up. So my pattern is more push the ball around. When I do top spin the ball, get good clearance of the net, land it in the middle of the table with good spin, try and get an easy pop up that I can just put away. Paul on the other hand is trying to move the ball around, take advantage of my forehand weakness and put it there for a safe ball, get me to make mistakes during the pushing, and tempt me to attack the wrong ball, where hopefully from his point of view I've misread the spin and get me to hit it off the net or into the table, or tempt me to hit the first one and give me something that looks tempting enough to hit a second one in a row and get me to make the mistake that way. So it's a very interesting match in that regard, that we're both twiddling to try and support our own strengths and to try and take advantage of the opponent's weaknesses as such. So definitely I would say go back, have another little look at that, and you'll see really Paul twiddling to do his stuff, me twiddling to try and get that pop-up ball to my backhand that I can put away for a win. And this time I got it.